Yeah, like, so I got blessed, you know what I mean? Like, again, like, a lot of my life is the right place, right time. So I got the opportunity because I was just, at the time I just had a daughter and I was at the house and I was like, let me lock in, let me teach myself how to record, because if I don't, I'm not going to have the opportunity to go back and forth to LA like I used to. So I was like, all right, let me teach myself how to record. So I spent a year and a half just in the house every day, just slugging. And then it came to a point where I just amassed a certain amount of records. And once I amassed a certain amount of records, I was just like, all right, cool. Like, let me try and shop these records. But at the time I was trying to shop them, these are like Afro leaning records. So everybody looking at me like I'm crazy. Cause this is, everyone's like, why are you doing these records? Who am I going to sell this to? And then, I'm just sitting at home and I get a phone call from my publishing company and they're like, hey, by any chance you got any African leaning records? I'm like, you know what I mean? So I was like, all right, cool, right place, right time. So then I sent the records over. And they were being real secretive in terms of just like what the records were for and stuff like that. And then probably like a week before going to the camp, I get a phone call like, yeah, can you be in LA on Thursday? And I'm like, it's Tuesday. I'm like, I can, but it's like, it's Tuesday. So I know it's something serious. So then when they, they fly me out, like the night before they fly me out, they let me know, it's a Beyonce camp for, Disney's Black is King project that they're doing with her. And I was just like, okay.
Y'all heard him. He said Beyonce, y'all.
Yeah. So, so I get to the camp and it was just love, because it was just one of those situations where growing up in Worcester, like I consider myself like the big fish in the small pond. But then when you get to LA and it's just like everybody in this room is Grammy Award winning, Grammy nominated, done Beyonce albums before. And I'm just like, all right, it's just me. You know what I mean? But it worked out. You know what I mean? It worked out, like being a consummate Worcester cat. Like I just didn't leave. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like people, the way they had the camp set up, it was set up in a way where you were supposed to, be there for designated days. And then, when your days were done, you go home. And I just didn't leave. I just kept coming back, like every day, just kept coming back. And like the lady at first didn't notice because I would just like slip in the room, set myself up and just, get to recording. So she didn't really put two and two together until like the third day I'm there. And she's like, are you supposed to be here? And I was just like, nah. But she just let it slide. And like, thankfully she let it slide, because then that opportunity ended up turning into another record for me for that project.
Really?
You know what I mean? So it could have been just one record, but because, I'm stubborn.
Persistence.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what I mean? That's
and he was in the video. Okay, if y'all don't know, he's in the video.
Yeah, so what was that like, being in the video?
Again, just God. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was one of those things that it really, when I sent these records in, I came into that camp as a writer. I didn't come in as an artist. Wow. So a lot of people in that, in the company didn't know that I was an artist. So when they came back to me, they were like, hey, they want to keep your voice on the chorus because we try to get other people to cut it, but it just didn't sound the same. And I was like, all right, cool. And then, my manager having the foresight was just like, he's an artist, right? And they were like, oh, word? And he was like, yeah. And, he goes by this name and da-da-da-da. And, thankfully they kept me on as an artist, because they could easily be like, all right, we're going to pay him his fee and keep it pushing.
That's a different credit.
You know what I mean? So they was just like, no, we'll keep. And, they were solid. Like her label is solid. They really cool people.
Did you meet her?
Yeah.
Like, yes. Yeah. What was that like, meeting Beyonce?
She's a boss. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's weird because like it's such a cliche word, but it's it's the only representative word I could use for her, because you get to see like the machine move around her and how she moves the machine. Like in terms of just like, you'll see her, like when I'm there, she's doing the Ivy Park deal, you know what I mean, with Reebok. And then she's turning around and doing a photo shoot. And then she's turning around and doing like video treatments, and then turning around and flying here. And then she's recording at home. It's like, it's a lot for any person. Definitely. You know what I mean? But for one person to kind of be like, she's this center focus of this thing that is spinning and moving, I'm like, I respect it. You know what I mean? I respect it in a different way. So yeah, she's one of those people that I always got to sit back and tip my hat like, all right, cool, I get it.
She is the queen.
Yeah.
Step into the groove, now you in the zone.